Hello there, wherever you are, and welcome to a MotoGP, motorcycle, race chat, audio chat, podcast, I suppose. One which doesn't have a name as things stand because, well, we've shunned the traditional method of making a podcast. You know, the one where you actually plan out what you're going to do. You know, make notes, book a guest, give the whole thing a name even. Unprecedented times called for unplanned measures or something like that, with seriously tough times for everyone around the world. We just wanted to fill our time, as well as maybe filling your time and perhaps even putting a smile on your face in the process, or not. I'm doing this intro a couple of days after recording this pod, about to upload it. You'll notice the audio quality is rubbish. That's because I've done it. I apologise. Yep, I had to take everything from the call recording rather than my lovely microphone that I'm doing the intro with. So my sound tech pals will be giggling at my ineptitude, but that's why they are paid the big bucks. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you are well. And if the technology hasn't let me down, because he's gone very quiet, I am joined by the Burnley Bullet himself, your mum's favourite, all-round, outspoken, not afraid to tell it like he sees it, but could easily have his mind changed if someone actually makes a decent point. World Superbike Champion, MotoGP pundit, what I like to call him, the apex predator, known across Italy as Hodgson, Neil Hodgson. Good morning.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, Gav, you said you've been practicing that intro for, what is it now? That's nearly 3 weeks worth of practice. Good intro. Really good.
Stuck at home, yeah.
Honestly, did you say housewives' favourite? I'm going to say grandma's favourite.
No, I said mum's favourite.
Mum's favourite. Do you know what happens?
In there. It's
so true, this. The number of times I'm at a bike show or wherever, out and about, someone comes up to you, a girl comes up to you, an attractive girl, and here we go. And they go, it is, isn't it? It really is. And you're like, trying to act modest. Obviously, I find that difficult.
I mean, that is not possible.
It is, though. Is it Neil? Yeah. And then they scratch around for a piece of paper and you think, God almighty, I've still got it. Look at this girl. She's like 25, 30 years old, really attractive. Here we go. And they go, oh, my mum absolutely loves you. And you just go, yo.
Your world falls.
It's the ultimate whack, whack, whack.
Right. And we're a long way in and we haven't even started chatting. Let's do a quick, I know we don't want this to be news chat, right? But let's do a bit of any other business first before we get in. But we've got to talk about, we have to get coronavirus and that bit out of the way, and then we're done with it, right? Because we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to dwell on it. And we know it's affecting people badly. But MotoGP, first 4 races postponed. Do you think the right decisions were taken at the right time?
Yes.
In hindsight?
They've done a great job. The way they've dealt with it, and it's so difficult for everybody, isn't it? So
because there were some people saying, fans, and I completely wholeheartedly understand it, who have bought tickets or they've got trips and all these kinds of things, and hopefully now with the travel bans that have come in, they'll actually be able to recoup some of those costs. That's a relief, isn't it? In some absurd way.
Yeah, the right
I completely understand. Do you think we're going to get a season?
I don't, and it's probably not what people want to hear.
Nothing at all.
I don't know. No,
really?
But I'm not. You know me. I'm all over. Sometimes I'm like dead positive. Sometimes I'm negative. With this, I just don't think we're going to. I just can't see that by, let's say, July or August, everybody's going to go, all right, cool. That was a tough few months. I feel like it's going to drag on and
the long haul.
Yeah, but that's only my.
I don't know, Neil, on that one.
Yeah, sorry, but I don't know any more than you. I'm just that's.
Yeah, no, we don't know anything, and there have been sort of ideas mooted about moving races to winter. Maybe the likes of Malaysia and Australia. You can have those in December. The FIM president Jorge Viegas said we can run up to January next year, and I think that's fair enough, and I think they'll want to do it. But the fact they haven't had a race up till now, I don't know.
Yeah. It might postpone the season.
Might do that at one point. But then I'm just wondering about you or I. We get paid to to be there. We obviously won't get paid, but we are just a tiny percentage. Everyone in that paddock pretty much is freelance.
Yeah.
Mechanics even, aren't they? They're contracted yearly to teams. And all those people unable to get paid, and
teams will fold.
Sponsors and
sponsors won't pay because obviously they've received nothing. It's the knock-on effect's massive, isn't it? But
the one thing I was thinking about this with football that might be teams that go under. But I just wonder if you shutter everything up this year and almost don't touch it, and then come back to it next year, pull the shutters up, get your sponsors back in. Is that going to happen? Are people going to have sponsorship money? I don't know. There was a quote, actually. Carmelo put out a quote yesterday. Carmelo Spoleto, who's the boss of Dorna, basically saying, after the changes we've announced, we're keeping up to date with everything of it, how it's going on. The goal is to maintain the maximum number of events. That's our main target.
Yeah.
And it's telling, isn't it? That we're not saying we're going to do the whole season. I don't think that's feasible. I saw Formula One move the summer break till the start of the year. That's all to do with engines, that kind of thing. And when they down tools in summer, but they're going to try and clump them all in. I just don't see it happening, because the problem that we have is that it might. In Italy, it's so bad. My mum lives over there, and I've heard some terrible stories over there. And in Spain, I've got a lot of friends over there also suffering with it. It might end there, but then it'll be happening in the UK, or it'll be happening in Germany, or it'll be happening in the States.
Yeah, because it's a world championship, and everybody's got to. You can't
have a race without the Italians, but you can't have a race without the rest of the world as well, either, can you?
No.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But let's hope. Fingers crossed. We all hope. And look, we're trying to do this to forget about it as much as possible. So let's not dwell. What do you think the riders will be up to, though, now? What would you be doing?
Well, it's so difficult for the riders because it's at the point that this has all started, off the back of winter, off the back of 3-4 months, 3 months off, definitely, where they've been in wintertime. That's where you really work on your base fitness level. So you work so hard through winter, because as you know, once the season starts, it's pretty manic, and it's hard to really improve your fitness because of the constant traveling. So where I'm going with this is all the riders have done all their, let's say, foundation training for the year. They've pushed really hard. They've tiered it perfect so that they'll be in perfect fitness for the start of the season. And then now this has been sort of thrown upon them, so it's really difficult for the riders to know what to do. As we saw just recently, Maverick Viñales got injured riding his motocross bike. Everybody will be out trying to spend as much time on two wheels, doing as much motocross, flat track, dirt track. But I mean, I don't know. Will the Italians? I don't know what it's like for the Italians. Will they be? I'm guessing they aren't out riding the dirt bikes. Will Valentino Rossi be able to go on his ranch? I guess he will be able to.
It's on his own. Exactly his backyard. That's it. Yeah, on his.
Yeah. So it's just a weird time. I just feel it's on this subject. Everybody you mention, you just feel sorry for everybody. It's just difficult, isn't it? So, but I think I was with Sam and Alex Lowe's this week, and both those riders, obviously Alex has raced already in the World Superbike.
Yeah.
They've done their first round.
He's world champion as things stand.
I know. Yeah, exactly. We're just saying end of season now. We'll take that world title. A win's a win. But they're both really relaxed about it, because Sam's injured anyway. As you know, he made a right mess of his shoulder when he crashed at the first test back in January. So actually, it's probably worked out better for him, so he can get that fixed 100%, because that was only a couple of months ago. So, but they're both really relaxed because they know they're sort of they're ready to react whenever.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is it ever going to get? I don't think it can get to a point where we're going racing in 2 weeks, lads. That can't happen, can it?
No. I don't think there's all of a sudden
bikes have to be taken wherever they're going to be, and so on and so forth. It can't just suddenly be right. We're all going to so and so. Does that make sense? You're going to get a month's warning. So I just wonder whether people wind down the training.
They have done. To be honest, I think it's the first time I've ever heard Alex say, "I'm not going to go crazy now." You've actually got to, in any situation, you've got to try and make the most out of it. So for someone like Alex, who's always pushed really hard with his training. He's 29 years old now. His career's, he's still improving. And now it's like, actually, I've got an opportunity to take some time off, not switch off, but you don't have to kill yourself in the gym day in, day out. So
saying that, I've seen Aleix Espargaro still killing himself on his.
Oh no! And don't get me wrong. Someone like Aleix Espargaro really enjoys cycling, doesn't he?
Yeah,
so he'll just that's his thing,
right? Yeah.
Each case will be different. It gives a real good opportunity for the riders that, let's say, have struggled a bit with fitness. Now you've got a chance to really work on that, what I call, like, say, your foundation, your core fitness, and push on. But if you're already at that point where Alex and Sam Lowes are, what they're like, both incredibly fit, it's now a chance for them just to kick back a little bit. I know I've gone off on a tangent there, but
that's all right. That's what we want. That's what
you used to do with me.
Exactly. It's just like being in the car back from a racetrack. I just switch off, just zone out.
Cheers.
Later. What we got?
So Gav, that's why I talk about with Alex Lowes. I'm using him as an example because obviously I know Alex really well, as you know, Alex and Sam. That's why if you've got a chance just for a small window to switch off and relax, that'll do you good.
Yeah.
For your mental well-being and the longevity of your career almost.
Crack out Netflix.
Absolutely. Netflix and chill. Just quickly, I'm not going to ramble on about this too much. Certain riders throughout their careers weren't as obsessed with it, didn't train as hard.
Yeah, do it in a
more relaxed.
Different attitude.
Different attitude.
We were with Colin Edwards, for example. He always seemed to me like
exactly.
someone who's good.
And Troy Corser had longer careers because of it, I think, because they didn't burn themselves out. But they got that
ability
balance.
The way they worked was the switching off with a beer or something in the evening.
Yeah, exactly. Where I'd go home, and I'd have a beer on Sunday night, then I'd go home on Monday.
You'd have a beer on Sunday night, one beer, and you go home on Monday hungover.
Yeah, exactly. Being violently sick everywhere, and then I'd self-punish myself the next day because I'd hate myself that much because I was so stupid because the weekend didn't go according to plan, and you drank some beer, so then I'd have to kill myself in the gym. But this is it's really common. I've spoken to so many riders about this that do that punish themselves. So there you go. Are we going to talk to a rider? Did you say? Was that the idea? Are we going to?
I'd like to, right? But I'm going to call someone out here. John McPhee.
Yeah. Wee McPhee,
Super John. Everyone loves John. Have you ever met anyone who doesn't like John?
No, I'm officially not.
No, you can't, can you? He's impossible to dislike.
Yes.
Hasn't responded to my message. I haven't responded to my message.
Oh my God. Well, I knew this was going to happen. You could see it coming.
Remember what happened actually in Qatar? So, for those who don't know, Qatar. We'll talk about Qatar in a second, right? He sent myself and Neil the exact same message.
The little bastard. I remember that.
We weren't at the race itself. And we both were just getting all the information. What's going on? How have you been? We both got about a 4-line message. And it was word for word exactly the same. And John had to admit that he'd copied it out of the press release and sent it to us. Not even made up his own message and then copied it and sent it to us. No, copied it out of the press release.
It's changed. We've seen it coming. It's been on the cards for a while. Wee McPhee.
Try to give Valentino a buzz. We'll have to save that one for a bit later.
Have you got Valentino's latest number?
That might be it, actually. He might have switched.
Yeah.
Since those days.
Yeah.
Marquez is not answering, nor is his brother who's dressed as a minion. That was quite funny if you saw that video online. Any suggestions?
Well, we could speak to Jake Dixon. He's always up for a laugh. Oh, Dixie!
Let me have a look if I've got him on here. Let's see if we can get him.
I tell you what, I've got this. What I like about this, Gav, not only do we not have a name for the podcast.
Hello.
What the bloody hell?
I tell you what, I knew. What did I say to you? I said Jake will be listening to Share.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't mind about that, do you? How do you feel about that?
Are you in the car? Are you listening to Share in the car?
I just don't mind, mate. Just don't listen to it. I'm on BBC Radio 2. I'm like you old boys.
Loving it. Love it.
I do. It's a wonderful welcome. How you doing, Jake? You right?
Good, and you?
Well, you know, ticking along. Where are you at home?
Yeah, I'm at home, yeah.
And have you...
Yes.
Are you sat in the toilet?
No, but do I sound like I'm sat in the toilet?
Sounds a bit echoey. Have you got one of these really big houses with, like, no soft furnishings?
You know me, mate. Mansion life. It's probably because I'm on loudspeaker on my iPad, so I don't know if it's...
right, okay. Have you been socially distancing like a responsible adult?
Well, I've just been to the tip, so if that's socially distancing, yeah.
I think you're allowed to do that, as long as you're not within 2 meters of people.
I've literally just bought something from Argos as well, so I've got to go and pick that up.
What have you got?
It's another steering wheel for my simulator, so that's for social distancing.
So what simulator? What are you playing?
Oh, just Formula 1. Just because if it does go to lockdown, I'm going to be bored.
Are you going to join the Formula 1 eSports Championship?
I'm definitely going to do it. So,
have you thought about doing the MotoGP one?
Well, yeah, the team actually asked me on the other day in the group chat saying, "Are you any good?" And I was like, "Well, I'm sure I could do all right on it. I used to play it all the time, so."
Do it. It's
yeah, can you imagine that? I don't want to be sat there just absolutely bumming the TV. That's not a bit of me.
Don't bum the TV. I'll just, I tried that years ago, and you'll get nothing back for it.
You'll get nothing back.
Unfortunately, I've got a vision in my head now, which I cannot show.
Well, at least it doesn't back chat, so it's all right.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But honestly, I worked doing that eSports thing last year. They're pretty handy. Some of the lads doing it.
Yeah, but I know, right? And you'll appreciate this, Jake. We've been told off BT, really, we've got give it a load of respect, don't talk it down. But I just can't get my head around them wearing team uniform and talking about, this is my favourite track, and it's just a load of nonsense. I'm sorry.
It is fun. It is funny.
But what about when they're in their team, like you said, in their team gear and
they've got all the team
Yamaha stuff, and you got Lynn Jarvis sat there watching the game, probably thinking, "What even is this?"
Amazing.
Exactly.
Paolo Ciabatti there celebrating with the champion last year. He was at.
No, he wasn't.
He was. Paolo was there, and I was at the end of season award ceremony. He's up on stage with all of the world champions. It was amazing.
Yeah, but hang on.
Loved it.
Ducati won nothing, so of course any port in a storm, Gav.
Well, they had Bautista really screw it up for him in World Superbike, so at least they won something.
Hey, how the hell? Hey, listen. How the hell did he do that? Is he not though gonna look back at his career in 20 years and go, I tell you what, I really screwed that one up, didn't I?
Yeah, but dude, if you actually look at his career path though, any time that he starts to do well, he crashes a lot.
Yeah.
So it's always been front end crashes as well. And Frankie has obviously worked with him when he was in Aspar and said a common thing that Alvaro does, he's fast, but he doesn't know why he crashes on the front end. He doesn't know. So until you find out and realise why you're doing it, you're never gonna stop, are you?
Mm.
Yeah. Just changing the subject a little bit. Have you seen pictures of him recently? He looks completely different. He's got this massive wig on.
Not gonna lie, he looks homeless.
That's weird hair. Bear in mind, for me, Alvaro was always that pretty boy. Had the gel.
Okay, I've got to go now.
Not like you, Gav.
No, but he'd always run the track on a Thursday with his top off, and he'd.
Oh God, Gav, stop! Being recorded.
Oh,
No, but you know what I mean? Like, and he'd always have his hair slicked back or gelled or whatever, and then he's got this mop on his head. It's since becoming a dad, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like he's given up. He's gone for dad bod.
But his face. Do you think his face looks all swollen as well? It looks odd. I don't know what's going on. Something's happened.
I hope he's all right.
I think after last year, he's just absolutely devastated with himself.
He just got leathered all winter.
I think your face would be swollen if you'd lost the championship after having an 80-point lead.
My God, I'd be headbutting the wall.
I think that's what he must have been doing.
Beating himself up over it. Blimey.
He's definitely not been to barbers.
Yeah, he's definitely not been there. And not being funny, but his teammate isn't the neatest of people anyway, but Leon's making him look smart.
And he's smoking him.
Yeah, well and truly.
He smoked him, literally, he smoked him every session. Every day they've been on that bike, Leon's been a different level to him, really. He's been over a second a lot faster.
Yeah, but I'll give one thing. Leon came out of the womb on a Honda, didn't he?
Well, he came out of the womb on a bike.
Yeah.
But we're all forgetting, as the season goes on, Alvaro may get better because it's his first time properly riding a superbike. I know last year he was in superbikes, but it wasn't a superbike. It is like a hybrid. No, it's like a hybrid. V4 is the hybrid of a MotoGP bike, isn't it?
Is the Honda not that, though, now? Is that not the idea?
No, because you think the Ducati is this stiff, rigid bike, which a MotoGP bike is exactly the same. Where the Honda is a proper super bike, so it'll move around a lot more. Do you know what I mean? It just won't feel nice. It'll feel like he's riding on wets constantly because it'll be moving that much more.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you're seeing him take a lot longer than what he usually would, because you wouldn't say, no offense to Leon. Leon's a great rider and nothing taken away from what he's done in his career, because he's had a fantastic career. But Bautista, you'd say, in his career path, better rider than Leon Haslam.
You'd have said he was the clear number one in that team.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. So it's
that said though, Lenny. You know Lenny though, he loves it. Lenny though, Leon, when his back's against the wall, he's more. That's when I feel like you get the best out of him.
Yeah.
You know, like last year when he was on the Kawasaki, I almost feel like he's Johnny's teammate. It didn't quite go according to plan, and then it just sort of spiraled out of control.
He's like a giant killer.
But how weird was that last year? Like, if I thought Leon would go well on one bike, he's been riding the Kawasaki for however many years, you'd have thought he'd have done a lot better than what he did on the Kawasaki.
Yeah. The problem is when you get beat off your teammate, it can be mentally destroyed, soul destroying, can't it? Mentally, it's just like,
But do you know what I think one of the biggest things, I don't know if he does it now, but I know in Superbikes, when I raced against him, he didn't use the rear brake. But now, like, the one thing that I've been drummed into since being at Grand Prix, if you don't use your rear brake, you're not going to go fast. And the team did a test with me in Qatar, and they said, right, no, they didn't do a test, sorry. My rear brake disconnected itself somehow from the dry brake line. And basically, I was riding around on the first few laps going, I cannot stop. I'm overloading the front. I'm nearly crashing everywhere. And I come in and I stamped on the rear brake on the way in. I was like, I've got no rear brake. But honestly, if you'd have said to me a few years ago, right, when you start using the rear brake, you will find such a big difference if you don't use it. I'll go, no, don't. What are you talking about? No, you wouldn't. But now I couldn't ride. If I had my rear brake going the race, I would have to pull in.
Yeah. It's funny,
I rely on it so much.
It's like an English thing. For whatever reason,
massively.
English riders don't seem to use them. BSB riders don't use the rear brake that much.
Massively. But
why is that? Why explain that? Neil?
Well, I think a lot of it is because in England, it's predominantly superbike based. That's what people, or stock bikes, as in 600s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or stock thousands, where you've got road bikes with quite a lot of engine braking. So you've got a natural braking coming from the rear.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the Europeans have come through riding proper race bikes where you don't want too much engine braking because you don't want it to lock. So you've had to control the braking from the rear with using the rear brake, if that makes sense. So I think that could be part of it. And also then if you get champion after champion winning British superbikes that, I never use a rear brake, then people learning and aspiring to be like them would
but isn't that a typical English thing, like pig-headed? Us Brits are so much better than everyone else. Well, no, hang on a minute, we're not. We're behind the times. Get with it. Start using all the things that Marc Marquez and Valentino Rossi and all these people that are using, because they're doing it, so they must be doing it for a reason.
Yeah, and that's why, Jake, when you came into the paddock last year, pretty much a year ago in Qatar, and you looked like a rabbit in the headlights, you were in shock of how fast everybody was.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Was it worse than you expected, Jake, last year? Was everything?
Do you know what it was? It was a number of. It was a number of things. It was like, obviously, I sort of had an indication on what it was going to be like when I did the first test. I just was like, this bike is impossible to ride. Obviously, with the problems that KTM were having at the time, but as well, I was like, these boys, I'm not even joking, are so fast. It's not like it's like not one Leon Haslam, it's 25 Leon Haslams in one class. Not that, just for instance, because in BSB you can, if you're on an off day, you can finish on the podium. There, if you're on an off day, you are well back.
You're 25th.
Yeah, you are so far back.
Well, you could be a second behind and be 25th.
Oh, dude, it's so savage. It's so savage. It's ridiculous. But at Qatar, obviously, I went out in the Qatar test and I was riding round and I did my fastest time on day one and I could never get back near it. And I was like, oh my God, like stressing so bad. And then I see you guys and then you're just trying to always put a positive spin on things when actually all you want to do is just be like, I am so stressed. You would not believe.
We could tell.
You always, obviously for the media and everything, you have to always put on a positive attitude because you can't be seen to be that one that's negative all the time and, I'm down in the dumps. And no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. So you need to pick yourself back up, brush yourself down and get on with it. Because no one likes a whiner and someone likes a trier. So that's what you've got to do in life.
It's true, though. He's right. You're absolutely
He's calling
right.
it exactly 100%. But that's why, just going off what we were talking about earlier, that's what we're saying where British riders, pig-headed, got to learn how to change and adapt. That's why we say, when you came into the paddock, we were commentating going, it's a 3-year plan, really. You can't just come in and just smoke these boys.
No.
And as it's shown with what your progression last year and already with the start of this year, with your, a strong opening race, that's what we're seeing. It's exactly what we'd sort of called it.
Yeah. But that's it. You're seeing a lot of practice sessions, though, like throughout practice at Qatar, I was down in the timesheets. I was around like 18th, 20th, but I wasn't too worried on that sort of pace because FP3 came, and where no one had no new tyres, I was running fourth quickest for ages in the session, and that was a true indication on sort of race pace. And if you actually look, from 10 laps to go, once I sorted myself out, got through and had clear track, 10 laps to the end of the race, I was lapping, I think I had like fourth or podium pace to the end of the race from 10 laps to go.
I mean, you were setting, I was watching your time times towards the end of the race. I wasn't commentating on it. Neil and Keith were doing it. And you were setting best. Was it your penultimate lap was your best lap?
Yeah. And honestly, I felt as the race went on, I learned so much more to how I need to ride this bike. And I'm not going to lie, I've struggled to almost adapt back to riding like a normal riding style after riding the KTM, because I'm right. I was speaking to Neil about this over WhatsApp, and I was saying to you, Anna, Neil, that I'm braking 20 meters later than Xavi, and it's not helping me because, I may be stopping the bike, but I'm stopping the bike in the wrong place in the corner. So then it's mucking my exit up out the corner. So I'm losing a lot of time. But I know from looking at the data now that once I correct the entrance, the mid to exit will be better than Xavi, and I'm almost the same as him already.
Yeah.
So,
but that's the beauty. That's what was so difficult for you last year. Your teammate was the slowest guy on the grid. You couldn't learn anything from his data, could you? Cardolence's data, where now you've got Xavi Vierge, who's obviously a top doer. He's a man who's expected to...
Dude, they are relying on him to win this championship. When I was speaking to Stiggy and Razlan, and Stiggy's super cool, like Razlan's so straight to the point, but it's good that how straight to the point that
straight
he
talking.
is. Yeah, and they to come out straight up and said, we have employed Xavi to win this championship for us.
Yeah.
And basically, they were talking to me over dinner in Qatar, and they said, after day one, I struggled a bit. And they said, what happened? And I said, I'm just struggling a little bit. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to be a little bit arrogant here towards the management. And they said, but Xavi's like obviously 0.6 ahead of you. I says, it's all good and well. It's round one, Razlan. You need to just keep calm, because when we come mid-season and I'm spanking the number one rider, you lot are going to be telling me to slow down and get back behind him.
Get in your box.
So, and they were loving it. And after the race, they were really happy because they basically wanted me to finish inside the top 15, and I did what they wanted me to. So it was good.
Have you noticed at all, looking around, I don't know, Italians in dark suits on street corners with dark glasses?
I was just going to touch on that, Gav.
Have you, I don't know, had any calls where you've answered and there's nobody on the other end?
No.
Have people been sent round to sort you out?
I mean, Gav.
Why?
Gav.
I don't understand.
Gav, have you ever seen such a dirty move on the last corner? I mean, it was horrendous.
Oh my God,
absolutely.
Jesus, such idiots.
I mean, Luca Maric is like probably the nicest guy in the paddock, always smiling. Never pulled a dirty move on anyone, and he just gets his handlebars ripped out of his hand by him.
Why?
By Dixie.
No, do you know what happened? Right, we all got sent to. I didn't even realise he'd fell off until the end of the race. And then came in and they were like, Marini, you obviously had contact with him. I was like, did I? And went to race control. And I went back to the box where I get changed, and I looked at my boot. And I was like, there's a massive indent in my boot. I was like, that's weird. And then went up to race control, and basically they showed us the footage with me and Marini were there, and he tipped and hit his front brake lever on my foot. Would you believe it?
But you kicked his front brake lever out the way.
I didn't.
You just cleaned him out, Jake. You just cleaned him out.
I was just like, I'm just get out of the way, mate. I'm coming through.
I've got some t-shirts printed.
Dixie's coming through.
Exactly.
As Keith would say.
Dixie.
Dixie. He thinks I love that as well. I don't know where he's got it from.
We've talked about it before. We've given it.
We talked about it before you came on.
Because it was. Hey, what I've got to say. What about Nagashima? How many people said that before the season started?
Honestly, that was so good. He rode so good, and he's been so good through pre-season.
Yeah.
Like last year, you seen him, and he was fast through practice, but he didn't really put it together. But now he's got the team around him that he's able to put it together.
Yeah, it was impressive, wasn't it? I thought,
Was.
and it was lovely, wasn't it? The story with Tomizawa,
Yeah.
that whole thing. I just thought it was really. They were best pals.
Were they really?
Yeah. There's photos of them back in the day in the All Japan Championship, and he said he was a bit of a mentor to him, like an older brother. And yeah, it was honestly,
It was lovely.
Really
it had that feeling that it was meant to be,
special. Yeah, exactly.
didn't it?
Yeah, everyone loves a fairy tale, don't they? So seriously,
But this is what we're saying with Moto2. How long does it take for the people to come through and progress? Marquez, even down to I think.
Well, Zarco took a while.
Binder, hey?
Yeah, Binder. Zarco took a while, didn't he? Zarco didn't just like win in his first year. It took him.
Rabat.
Yeah, Rabat was the same.
He worked hard at it over years. And do you notice how quickly your Maverick Vinales, your Alex Rins and Joan Mir got out of there?
Yeah.
Because it's one of those places where if I'm quick enough straight away, I don't want to give it another go almost.
Yeah, but do you remember Rins?
So savage.
Yeah, and do you remember Rins's year? He started off good, and then he was terrible the last sort of 5 races, battling for like 17s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He really was. So,
I think it's absolute viper pit.
It's almost a MotoGP seems not easy, but that little bit easier.
That's a quote we were looking for, Gav. We got it.
That one. MotoGP is easy.
GP's easy.
No,
that's it. Hang on, I'm on to MCN. I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going to call MCN. Dixie.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? It seems that whenever they get on the bike, like Mia and all them boys, they seem to be able to be fast straight away in Grand Prix in the top class.
Yeah. I've got to have a quick word about Moto3 as well, Jake, and your old mate Albert Arenas and John McPhee both doing business.
Oh, dude. First of all, how strong was Albert all the way through the race? As in, he almost dictated what he wanted to do on that last lap.
Yeah. And that bike clearly is working better than it has been in terms of he could just stay at the front.
Yeah, no, honestly, he rode awesome.
Number 3, who chooses going down the straight to be at the front, especially a long run to the line like Qatar?
Just shows how much a step KTM's made over the winter in their engine. I think that's the biggest thing and the most impressive thing, because obviously with the season that they had last year, even in Moto3, the bike wasn't great. It was slow, and obviously Moto2, they wasn't having the best of seasons. So I think for them to really re-establish themselves back in Moto3, it was good to see that coming onto the home straight, he was able to stay in front, and the Honda's been by far the quickest thing in recent years, isn't it? So, and John's probably one of the lightest riders as well. Yeah,
and he wouldn't have made it to the line. And we were saying in commentary, it was he had to get past him, and he couldn't do it. But he did well, didn't he, John? Second place,
mega. I think he played it well. He had a good test. He had a good pre-season, to be fair. Spent a lot of time with John, and he rode an awesome race, calculated, and did what he needed to do. He executed it when the time was right.
Right. So, in all of the last 13 championships in Moto3, since the season began in Qatar, right? So, since we started going there as the first race, your world champion in Moto3 has been on the podium at race 1, except in 2008 when Di Maio was 4th. Stop playing with your squeaky toy, Jake. Right. So, I wonder, we'll talk to Larry in a second. I wonder, though, that's a stat in it. And it in 2006, South Africa was first and Bautista won. So it goes even back to our mate Alvaro back in 2006. So, Arenas, McPhee, Ogura, Messia was knocked off because who's going to be champion out of them?
Whoa.
I'll add Messia in there because he's knocked off.
Do you know what? From what I seen last year, I think the person, if they can put it to get Albert, is out and out the fastest of them at the minute. I think by what he did at the beginning of that race and what he was doing at the end of last year on the bike that he was on, I'd say Yeah, I'd say Albert, to be fair. As much as I want John to do it, I think Albert's got all the pieces to do it this year.
It's funny. I agree, but I also think we've got a different John McPhee this year. I think John McPhee has got all the pieces of the jigsaw for the very first time.
So. I really do.
They're all there in front of him. He looked like a different rider. He made every decision I saw him make in that race, and it was a bloody tough race, wasn't it? Was the right decision. It definitely looked like we've finally got like the polished John McPhee, and I think we know he's going to fight for the title, and we know Albert's going to be probably his main rival. I reckon it's going to be between them two, and it's going to be brilliant.
You both know what it means to anyone to stay on the same bike for a second year in the same team.
Massive.
Albert's got those three have it. I don't know. Albert, John, and I, Agura, all in the same team on the same bike. How massive is that?
But that's the biggest thing. I think that's bigger than anything else, is to be in the same team, same bike, same personnel, same everything, because you grow like fonder with the team. You have that better connection. You just get that little bit more confidence, rather than when you're swapping teams constantly. You're always trying to find your feet, feel it out, and understand. They've got to understand what you need, rather than hitting the ground running straight away. Yeah,
it's fantastic. We heard Larry in the background there.
Yeah,
how's he dealing with you being around all the time?
Oh, he just absolutely loves it, because he's on the pipe like me, so he's all right. He's absolutely loving it.
I will point out, Larry's your little... Is he Jack Russell, is it?
Yeah, he's my little Jack Russell, and he's an absolute legend, mate.
He's a good lad.
So if you don't follow him already, it's Larry Dixon 96 on Instagram. Give him a follow.
Yeah, just a shout out, Gav.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Right, think what I'm going to say now. Can you imagine being Sarah Dixon?
No, we say it all the time
with Jake.
I thought you were just going to say, can you imagine if Jake was a world champion? How mad the world would go.
That'd be a good day.
I think.
Well, you're on the journey.
This is it, mate. And we're going to look back and say, wow, that podcast set me on the way.
That's the one. This podcast, which hasn't even got a name, which we just sort of rustled up this week when I was like, oh, gee, I need to do something. I need to do some work. I need to talk.
I think it's good, though. It's good for, especially we're used to, I don't want to blow your trumpets, but you've got so much knowledge. You know a lot of people. So you can generally put a good podcast together. There's a lot of boring people out there doing podcasts and making it work, so...
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what goes on. Hey,
it's unlike Hodgy, who's got a monotone voice. Apart from that, it's all right.
Hey, finally, before we let you go, Jake, have you watched marble racing?
Isn't some of your weird fantasy that you
have you watched
make
it?
Some weird thing, is it, Gav?
Have you watched it, Neil?
What are you talking about? Marble racing?
So in the absence of racing, there's been a video going around. It went around with a lot of the Spanish. It's got a bit of commentary on it, and it is someone has built in the back garden. It's like a downhill mountain bike track, and they drop off 20 marbles. And honestly, in the absence of racing, it's one of the best things. I'm trying to get sponsorship. Honestly, it's superb. If you haven't done it, go and have a look. Marble racing.
You really need to get out a little bit more, mate. Even when we're allowed out.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have no life.
Gav, you do
not. But honestly, you've got to miss racing as much as me. And the marble racing has become an internet sensation. The marble rally. The Sun Marble Rally.
What do you think, though? What do you think, though? This whole thing with the whole coronavirus. What do you make on it?
It's horrific, and it's only going to get worse, Jake.
Do you think?
Yeah. Honestly, I've got obviously my family, my mum. Oh, here we go. There we are. I've got the sand rally's just come up in me. Honestly, I'm going to send you the link now, right? Yeah. And I want you to watch it when you get off this call. It's called for people who want to know. It's the Sun Marble Rally, and there's a lot of them.
I will not be watching that.
Yeah,
you will be surprised.
I've got fences to paint.
I've got 2 hours cycling to do.
Yeah.
So unlike you, Gav, we've both got to do something. Hodgy's got to work on his arms.
Yeah, biceps. I've got biceps to keep injecting.
Come back and abusing you both for not having enjoyed this. Honestly, it is the future. It is the future. It's where we're going with it.
Gav, you're really into this.
Honestly, I'm thinking of speaking to Dr. Martin Rains and getting him to do some stats on it. That's what's going to happen next. Right, Jake, I'm going to let you go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Stay safe.
Yes, and you guys. It's been emotional.
Emotional.
Be safe, and and we hope to see you on a racetrack soon.
Yeah.
Yes. Big up to the MotoGP massive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Big up. Right. Thank you for joining us, and say hello to Sarah, but especially Larry, won't you?
Will do. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. It's been such a pleasure. I can't describe to you how overwhelmed I am right now.
Just go. Just go.
Right.
Right, see you in a bit. Guess what? What's good looking and hangs up?
Oh, God. I love him.
I think 2 or 3 of us are in the call now, apparently. So he's gone.
Love him.
He's a character, isn't he?
He's superb. Do you know what? We'll stick and say he won't listen to this back, so we can say stuff behind his back. He's on the right path. He's working hard.
It was. I mean, I think his dad do a couple of Grand Prix appearances? Like anything?
No, quite a few. I think.
Right.
Yeah, so he did quite a few. Obviously, he was Sidecar World Champion, wasn't he? You know, I mean.
Yeah, but he did some 500.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But so obviously there'll have been this thing in his family growing up. I want to be in Grand Prix, and we don't get that a lot anymore, do we? It used to be back in your day. I bet your dad in particular. I bet he was keen to get you. I mean, he was glad you on a 125, and it was all about Grand Prix, wasn't it?
Exactly. It was like I won the British Championship in '92. It was my 3rd season of racing, and it's like, well, there's no point in doing that again. You've won, so let's go to World Championship racing. And I just wish. Cause we've got a situation where there's not many Brits in Grand Prix racing anymore, is there? You know,
and Jake sort of there. He's the youngest. Is he younger than John? He's about the same as John.
He is. No, he's younger than John, and he's got a chance. Like I say, he's on his way. He's got a chance this year to be. You know, well, obviously, if we go racing, let's just forget about the virus for a second. Let's say this year, he's a chance to be a regular top 10 finisher, I think.
Yeah,
and then. He needs that all-important 2nd year with the team, the Petronas team, which is a good team. He's
got to impress them enough. As he said, they're not expecting him to be the number 1 rider. They're expecting good performances. So if he can start making progress, that's
which he will do, and then that's his chance to then fight for podiums, and then you're properly on your way, aren't you?
Yeah, and then there's all this conversation there's going to be about contracts and that kind of thing now, aren't there? About, people's contracts. Some will go to the end of the season. Most go to December the 31st is the usual thing for a contract. But if the season goes beyond that, how does that work? I know they're having that conversation in other sports. So it's something for further down the line. But great to speak to Jake. I think we'd better leave people now. We've had far too much of their time already.
Yeah.
That is the hashtag working from home.
Yeah, hashtag no name podcast.
Come up with a name for us, please. Let us know if you do want more. We were thinking we could knock out quite a few in the time that we've got here cooped up. We don't know when we're going to do another one. We'll try and make it soon. We'll try and do it this week. If you've liked it, let us know. Send it to some of your other mates who might like it. If you haven't liked it, still send it to some of your mates because it'll annoy them, and everyone likes to annoy the mates, don't they?
But we'll try and we'll always speak to a rider. We'll try and we'll try and speak to some Italian, speak to some Spanish riders. We'll mix it up a little bit, and we'll just have a general chat, make it a little bit of fun, and hopefully informative.
All right. Well, cheers, Neil, for it.
Yeah.
Let's hope. I mean, we want to be talking about the live stuff. We're trying to sort something out with BT. I know there's a lot of people asking questions about, the subscriptions. We don't speak on behalf of BT. We aren't. We're freelance. But I know they're trying to put something together. We've been speaking to them about the possibility of giving you something.
Yeah.
So we're fingers crossed. We're dotting the I's and crossing the T's on something, trying to get into the studio maybe to do something. I don't know. We're really working hard, and there are a lot of people working hard because, so you understand from our point, from this side of things. There's a lot of people who make MotoGP get onto your TV, and I'm not just talking about BT, I'm talking about in the sport in general, who have no work at the moment, and are on the verge of or have lost livelihoods, and I know it's happening across the board. That's not a violin playing or anything. So people are really trying, aren't they, Neil, to put something together?
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have some news this week. That's the idea, isn't it? With what we're hearing, but there's nothing official at this stage. But hopefully by Monday, Tuesday, we might know more. So
yeah, it won't obviously be like MotoGP, and that's what we want to know. We're trying to keep your spirits alive with the sounds of the riders, maybe not as you're used to hearing them. As far as we're concerned, the season is on pause. Enjoy the marble racing. Honestly, it's fantastic. I'm loving it. You've got to get on it. Neil, thank you. Stay motivated.
I've got to go for a walk now, unfortunately. Vic's got me. She wants to go for a walk. So
all right, well, stay isolated, stay distanced. That's all.
I will do. And you.
All right. Safe. Right. Take care, and thank you, everybody, for listening.
Apologies once more, for the sound quality during that. I'll get it right next time. It is just our first go at it, so please be a bit lenient with us. And we still don't even have a name for the podcast. A couple of ideas we were banding about were Gas It Out. We quite like the idea of that one. And Life Behind Bars. I think that's quite a good one too. Any ideas you've got, do let us know. We'll try and be back very soon indeed with another episode, and hoping to speak to some more of the stars of motorcycle racing. Thanks again. Stay safe wherever you may be, and hope to speak to you soon.